Hello. We're talking about how you can make on this day a really nice looking keychain. It's going to have a name in front of it. You can also white it out those letters if you wish. You can drill a hole into it so you can put a keychain on it, and you can sand and buff these edges to get it looking really nice and smooth. The piece of plastic you're going to start with is going to basically look like this. It's a piece of acrylic plastic. It's covered in paper, and on the sides you can see are the saw marks where it was cut either on the bandsaw or the table saw to get it roughed out to the shape that you're going to start with. Prior to buffing your sand on your edges, you need to sand the edges quite a bit. I'm going to try to show you here on the camera, but if you can see all these little cut marks, that's from where the bandsaw or the table saw left these marks. These marks really cannot be buffed out. These marks have to be sanded by hand. Then when they're all gone, then you can take it to the buffer and get it buffed and polished. The paper should remain on the plastic for as long as possible. Underneath, if I were to peel off this paper, this plastic would be perfectly smooth and shiny. So the moment you remove the paper, you now could get scratches. When you're sanding, you could damage the plastic. You want to keep this paper on as long as possible. It also, if you need to write on it, makes it a lot easier to write on the plastic. These are all your letters that you're going to get to use for your engraving. They're pretty expensive. Each one, believe it or not, is about $20 to $25 if we had to replace them. Please use them and enjoy them, but when you're through with them, make sure they get back to the organizing system here. There should be approximately 3 M's, 3 A's, 3 C's, and so on, three of everything. It takes a little bit of time to put them back, but it makes it so much nicer for everyone when you get these letters returned to the proper location. This is the machine where you'll do your engraving for the name tag. A lot of students aren't familiar with what side is for engraving, what side is for the letters. The upper top part right along here is where your letters would go. Now in this example, I'm going to do Mom, so I'm going to put M-O-M. This is your center mark. So whatever is on this side should roughly be balanced to what's on that side. So I'll split the O, and I will leave it that way. I'll slide up the bottom securing bar. I'll slide in these pieces here, snug them down. You don't want to over tighten these. They don't have to be, crushed and tightened to within a death grip, but you do want them firm. Same goes for this Allen wrench or Allen bolt here. You don't have to do it crushingly strong, but you do want it firm. And sometimes you can take it and feel if you can move the letters or can't move the letters, you're in good state. Now this is the little aluminum plate that's going to hold down your plastic piece. You want to center it as well, approximately half on this side, half on the other side. We can lift up the plate, and sometimes you need to loosen it a little bit to get it up there. So we loosen it up. You can see in this circle you can see part of the let me zoom in here. You can see this about halfway through that circle. You can see the plastic. That's a good bite on the plastic. And then we'll zoom back out. With the Allen wrench, we can tighten it back up. I've seen students take this thing and they're just like crushing it down. It's really not the way you want it. You want it just firm, but no more than that. I'm going to zoom in again, and I want to show you a common mistake students make. If you can see that the plate is on top of the plastic, a lot of times students, and it's natural, they think that the plate should be right here on the side. That kind of works. It really doesn't have a lot of holding power. You'll get a lot more holding power when the plate is actually on top of the plastic, if that makes sense. Okay, I think we're ready to start engraving. This is the handle that you're going to hold. You want to use, let me back out of here. Okay, back down. You want to use 2 hands to engrave, and you get better control that way. And you'll want to pass it over twice. Sometimes the first time you'll miss a spot or you don't go quite deep enough, so do 2 passes. Also, I want you to notice that prior to starting this, I'm just going to take the machine with it off, and I'm just going to see where does the cutter head fall on the plastic. So if you do this and you're like, whoa, the cutter head is way at the top of the plastic, or to the left or the right, or it's cutting down here in the metal, something's not right. Call over an instructor and ask for the instructor to help you adjust the table so that it's all set up properly. As a matter of fact, I think most instructors are happy to come by and double check things. So to turn it on, this switch on the power cord turns it on. So I'm going to turn it on. I'm going to first also make sure I have safety glasses on. Once I know that the glasses are on, I can turn it on. Push down, 2 hands. Lift up. And there, we'll zoom in. We can see we have made our engraving Mom. You may think, hey, all the plastic and paper's torn. That's okay. The paper may tear, but what you're looking at is the engraving good, and is it deep enough? If it's not deep enough, this is now a great time to come back and re-engrave. You can also, at this point, you can, with a pencil or a pen, trace out, let me back out of here for a second. You can trace around where you might want to sand on the belt sander to sand off these rough edges first on the belt sander. So we can mark them like so. We can also mark where we'd like to drill the hole for the keychain. So now we have Mom. We have these edges sanded, marked where we're going to sand them and where we're going to drill the hole. Actually, I think I'm going to change, I think I don't like that one. I think the hole would be better about there. Now, when you're finished, as a courtesy for the next student using the equipment, please don't forget to use the vacuum. That looks really nice. For the next student, it'll be clean and fresh. And now, when you remove these wrench bolts with your wrench, all you need is a 1/4 turn to take them off. Please make sure you return these to the organizer. Now I'm going to drill the hole, and I decided to put a piece of wood down to protect the backside. Oops. Now I'm going to use the belt sander to round the edges. Don't forget to turn on the vacuum when you use the belt sander. As you can see, these edges are still pretty rough. You see all those rough marks on it? These edges need to be sanded by hand all the way around the entire piece of plastic. All right, I'm glad you're back here. Now I'm going to show you basically the final step. At this point, you should have sanded out virtually all the little white spots and all the rough edges and brought it down so that it's very, very smooth. Then we come over here to the buffer, we turn it on, and if it doesn't turn on, check the timer to make sure that the timer is on. Then take a little bit of this polishing compound, doesn't take much. Just touch it, rub it up against this side on the left wheel, making sure any long hair, any sleeves, anything is pulled back. Get a good grip on your hand, on the plastic. Push in firmly, keep it moving. Try it back and forth. Then we bring it over to the other side and we take off the wax. And there you can see the finish. It was like similar to this one, and after buffing we have a nice shiny finish that you can probably see. Once you've polished the whole perimeter of your name tag, you can now little by little peel off the plastic paper that's protecting the plastic and ask for a chain that's usually up on the teacher's desk. All right, have fun.